Boris Johnson breaks his own lockdown law, the Labour politicians continue to lie to the public, and we talk about the consequences of Tier 4. Hello everyone and welcome to today's show. As you might have heard yesterday, the government have introduced a new layer of the lockdown regulations, Tier 4. Now, this video is not really about being pro or anti-lockdown or debate about the solution, how to fix public health in this country. This is primarily about democracy, our freedoms, and how ordinary people have been left behind by the political class, and how the mainstream media are on the same side of the establishment, so there's absolutely no accountability and no scrutiny, especially considering that earlier this week, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, sent the MPs home in Parliament for Christmas. And then yesterday they decided to announce the new regulation for Tier 4, which is a harsh version of it's a semi-lockdown, and without any scrutiny. So they promised when they renewed their emergency powers, the legislation, to always get a vote in Parliament and to always have MPs to scrutinise and debate. Not only that, it didn't happen. They also didn't even introduce a statutory instrument for the actual thing. Obviously, in terms of legally speaking, in Parliament. Yesterday they had a cabinet meeting. Last night they announced it. Midnight it came into force. This morning the government at 6 a.m. decided to write the document in the name of statutory instrument. Firstly, it's too late. No one was told about this. Secondly, this section of the document itself, written by Matt Hancock's department, says that no impact assessment has been prepared for these regulations. As usual, there's been no assessment in terms of the effectiveness of the policy, because none of these policies have worked in the past. No assessment in terms of how it's going to be hitting ordinary people from different angles, whether it's mental health, whether it's cancer patients, whether it's people losing their businesses, losing their jobs, getting into poverty. Absolutely nothing. There's also, as I said, because the media is supposed to be there to scrutinize, no, they're backing them. Now, the issue we have is that the Labour Party, as opposition, is supposed to be there to hold the government to account. They think they're doing it, but no, they're not. You had Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, coming out to say that London and the country are paying the price for the government's failure. Okay, technically that's true, but it doesn't mean what you think. It means this continued chaos could have all been avoided had the government not made irresponsible promises and raised expectations ahead of Christmas. That's also true, but coming from Sadiq Khan, the man who back in March said that London Tube is safe, there won't be any new cases from there, then he changed his mind. The man who was against the lockdown but then was pro-lockdown. The man who was against the 10 p.m. curfew, then he was in favour of the 10 p.m. curfew. The man who until a couple of days ago was saying that he had a different position on Christmas, relaxing the rules, and now he's saying that, well, the government made empty promises. You have no position at this point, Sadiq Khan, to say any of this. It's not just him. His boss, Sir Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, also came out and said that millions will be heartbroken by this news, which is true, having their Christmas plans ripped up with less than a week's notice. Okay, that makes you think that Starmer is probably on the other side of the argument. No. He was asking for this. He was asking for a full lockdown again days before. He wanted to cancel Christmas, and now that it's happened, he's blaming Boris Johnson. He's done the same thing over and over again. He's been lying to the British public every single time he asked for a lockdown. When the government did it and it didn't work, he said, why did the government do this? This was a bad idea. So Sir Keir Starmer needs to stop lying to the public. Now, in the middle of all this, mental health cases are increasing, especially during Christmas times. And before I get to the rest of the video, I want to say that my thoughts are with everyone watching this video, going through these dark times. If you're lonely, if you're at home, if you can't visit anyone, if you have no one visiting you, again, most of us are going through the same situation. I'm currently in my flat in London, so you have my email address in my description box. Feel free to send me an email, and I will try to reply to as many as I can. Obviously, we get a lot of emails. But there's absolutely no solution from the government when it comes to mental health. Which reminds me of this clip from Yes Prime Minister.
In stage one, we say nothing is going to happen.
Stage two, we say something may be going to happen, but we should do nothing about it.
In stage three, we say that maybe we should do something about it, but there's nothing we can do.
Stage four, we say maybe there was something we could have done, but it's too late now.
That's literally how they're doing government policy now. Since March 2020, this is the government version. Now, obviously, that was satire, but it's very, very accurate. Now, Matt Hancock, who came on TV recently to cry, or pretend to cry, because he was happy about the progress we made with Pfizer and all the other companies. Is Matt Hancock going to come on TV again to cry or pretend to cry that the rate of suicide is going to be going up in Christmas? Is he going to be crying or pretending to cry on TV that more people are going to be hit, cancer patients are going to lose their lives, and everybody else will be losing their jobs and businesses? No, don't think he will. And this is a problem I have with people like Matt Hancock, where at times you think obviously they have good intentions, this is their job, they want to make sure they do a good job. Just the level of incompetence is a whole different level. Now, because you look at the data, the stats that we have in terms of how it's been going up. Firstly, July, when they relaxed everything, most things, and pubs and restaurants came back, hospitality. We went until July, August, September, October, without any fear. Everything seemed to be fine. Now, this whole situation is not black and white. That's why these people think, well, it's very simple. You open pubs, people go out, cases go up, and people will lose their lives, and the solution is lockdown, send everyone home. Clearly, we can tell from evidence that's not the case. And clearly from the evidence, we can also see that it kept going up despite the November lockdown and despite the October tier system that was introduced September and October. So it's been going up, and now, to be fair, flatlining anyway, but it didn't really go down. It didn't really stop it from going up at the time. And so all these lockdown things, all these tier systems haven't actually worked. There's no scrutiny. We have the YouGov poll. Again, it's YouGov. Don't take it seriously, because the way YouGov as an opinion, obviously their polls are, the way they do it is ridiculous. Everyone has to be online, have an account with them. But you can see that the Brits, 6 in 10 Brits, are against the government's way of handling this situation. 61% in this country are saying that the government and the political class in general, it's not just about the Tory party, it's also the Labour Party, have been shambolic. Only 33% support them. The problem I have is with the rest of it. Conservative voters and Labour voters, for example. Everything is tribal. Everyone is becoming tribal. Stop being tribal, guys. So Conservative voters, 54% of them are still on the side of the government. Labour voters, 82% against. This is simply because of tribalism, because the rate is so different that it's not even close. Clearly, it's just because, well, this is Team Blue, we should be against them. That's Team Red, so we should support Boris Johnson. Both sides are wrong. But one thing is sure, that the government have been shambolic. Now, Charles Walker, one of the sound Conservative MPs and pro-freedom, came out to say, he's also the vice chair of the 1922 Tory Backbench Committee in the House of Commons. He says he thinks that the government knew that it intended to cancel Christmas on Wednesday or Thursday, but waited for Parliament to rise to do it. He's been hearing a lot of other MPs also have been saying, backbenchers, that the government did this on purpose. They wanted to send the MPs home so that they couldn't stop them. This is not really healthy for our democracy. And considering the migrant boats are still coming in, considering that this is probably the best use of transport to use at this point to travel around, because you're not required to wear a face mask if you're an illegal migrant on a boat. You're not really required to show a passport or ID. You will be sent to a free hotel. You get free food. And you could enter any tier you want, as long as it's by the sea. This is the hypocrisy of our system at this point, and no one's doing anything about that either. Now, the issue I have is that, again, opposition and the Labour Party are there to scrutinise. They're not. Lisa Nandy apparently has said that the spread of the virus in London, in the Labour-run Wales, is down to a small act of selfishness, but the spread in England is because of the government. So Wales, that's been run by the Labour Party, it's because the chaotic situation is because a few people are being selfish. In the rest of the country, in England, it's because the government are shambolic, because it's run by the Tory party. This is what I mean by tribalism. And I don't understand what's going on in this country now, but this topic has become so political. And the only people actually who are being heard are ordinary people out there, the majority of the country, who don't even have the time to listen to these political clowns talking about their own tribes and try to defend them. Lisa Nandi, I'm not sure what to say about this, but she's a lovely lady, but she's very, very wrong on this. There's this tweet that I saw earlier, which is about Tier 4. So, the hypocrisy of this. A cleaner can come to your house anytime. That's part of the regulation. You can go to the office to work, mingle with other people who are not in your household. You can go visit someone if there's an animal welfare concern. So if you get bored, probably just say, oh, there's a spider in my house. Someone should come and save me from a spider. But you cannot go to visit this is the person who tweeted this, visit my frail 90-year-old mum and dad to just deliver some dinner on Christmas Day. And again, the whole thing goes back to, it's not about how serious or how deadly this thing is, the virus, or how we should or we shouldn't do lockdowns. It's because it's been months. The government and the political system across the world generally, again, there have been some good governments out there that manage it better. They've had enough time to do their research and find out more about this, and now we know a lot more than we did back in March. Yet they're still messing up. Yet they're still making the same policies that haven't worked until now, and there's no one to hold them to account. And if you say these things as a normal person out there, they will say you're crazy. Democracy and freedom are in danger, and the media and the political system are very complacent about it. So, if you enjoyed this content, we're going to keep you guys posted on this on a daily basis, and also the Brexit negotiations. Tomorrow, we'll give you the latest on the Brexit talks, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell next to it so you get notified. And if you want to become a member of the channel to support us and also get some benefits in return, I am going to bring back the Zoom video calls with the members. So check out the link in the description or go on youtube.com/mytousi/join. Tomorrow I'm going to answer the questions that we receive from the members of the channel as well. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.